Good evening. Good evening. Hello.
All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to get this evening's meeting in order. Please, the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening, everyone. It's November 18th, 2021. This is our regular monthly meeting of the Smithfield Township Planning Commission. I see so many faces out there today. And this is, we're normally on the second Thursday of the month, but we had to move it because of Veterans Day last week, so seems the word got out. We're good. All right. The meeting is called to order. Members present. We actually have a full complement this evening. Everybody here. Minutes. Everybody got the minutes in the packet? This would be from our October 14th meeting. If we take a look at it.
The motion, we accept the minutes as written.
Okay.
I'll second.
Dave makes the motion. Michael seconds it. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approved. All right, public comments on the agenda.
I have two comments.
Yeah, Michael?
I just suggest that we switch the new business, the order. We did the Trapasso subdivision first, I think faster. And my next point is I just want to note to the board about correspondence I received from a secretary from the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, which I can bring up and see like. Yeah,
you want to do it as a point? Well, probably a point D at that point, because we're going to get a little bit from Mitch here. We're going to make one addition, and it's really not a matter that is affecting any public plan. It's an internal set of training materials here. Mitch has been doing some stuff on. So we'll make that a C, and then D, Michael will have you tell us about that, okay?
Yep.
All right, anybody else have anything on the agenda that they want to make comments?
You got the item that I sent you the email about, right? The enforcement for violations that I wanted to discuss tonight?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I forgot about that. You know what? Mitch, we'll put it in with both yours. The seminar materials and the enforcement one, because again, that's for us. All right, let me see. Somebody called my name, Mitch. Hi, Martha.
So I'm not on the agenda itself. I guess my comments will go under 9, but I heard a comment about the Shawnee Valley CRD.
Okay, when we get to it. Yeah, we'll get to it. Yep. All right, we have no plans to act upon. No other unfinished, certainly official business. We have discussion materials. All right, next item. Application acceptance for the Trapasso subdivision Eagle Valley self-storage.
Hello, my name is Nate Oil. I'm here at Trapasso, the property owner and developer. Appreciate you switching the agenda around for us. Is this a good place to start?
Yeah, it's fine.
We've been with this application in front of you previously. We've had a conditional use approval for use and also for floodplain development. And now we're coming back to follow up with the land development, which is one of the conditions.
Okay.
Approval. So on your agenda, subdivision is actually for land development.
It's actually land development.
There is a lot combination plan which goes directly to the supervisors. And I think we'll probably just ask to have that table to go concurrently with this application. But it's a lot. 4 different lots. Property checked out on Skyline Drive. This is about 437 out here. This is the common driveway that comes back to what used to be, I guess, the IGA and Pepe and the Racket Club. And that way they stop right about here. But this property doesn't have that driveway in it, and it has a strip of property which comes all the way back and includes land above the DFW off of Fawn Road and Holton property also. Sandhill Creek runs right down through here, and then this is the Eagle Valley Realty, that small house there, the off-track bedding. There, odd lot. So there will be a lot combination that goes directly to the supervisor. We're just here for acceptance tonight, so we'll be brief. I think John has issued a letter, confirming that the required pieces have, been provided to proceed with the review. But just to refresh your memory, existing driveway, there's many versions of the the boundary line between Stroudsburg, and Smithfield. I think if you look at East Township's map, you'll find two different versions of it. We did go back to, when the subdivision was done, the county used to verify township boundaries for subdivision. So we went back to a version, that we felt was as accurate as we were gonna find back from, that time. It was related to a subdivision here, and that's how we determined it, and I think we've been in agreement that that's probably the best information available. It seems to go, as you go back in time, where all the municipal boundaries agreed, that seems to be what it is. And there's about 100 feet of driveway here that has to be built in Stroud Township. So we have copied the application to Stroud Township, and we're working with them to coordinate what they're gonna ask for stormwater and floodplain a little bit, and
Nate, I look back at it, it's almost a year to the day, actually.
Yes.
That we were here, my recollection was, it was probably 99% of it's in Smithfield, right?
Well, all the developable areas, so
yeah.
If you look at the overall plan, so here's the driveway coming back. As I said, there's like 100 feet of driveway we need to build in Stroud Township.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But this line here, almost all this property.
Yes, that's what I meant, I was like 99% of it's here anyway.
Some of many of the tax parcels, this tax parcel, some of these open floodplain areas are taxed in Stroud. So we're proposing to combine these all together and make one lot out of them for the purpose of proceeding with land development through one line.
Oh.
Things like this.
Okay.
But we are proposing to basically preserve, all this, area along the Sandroad Creek. There are wetlands in here. We've had studies done on dog turtle habitat return. That's not an issue. That's what some of the last year has been, getting those items resolved. So we come in with a land development plan and come in with a, NPDF permit for the Conservation District and DEP, and the application to Stroud.
All right, so this is the land development plan that you submitted, the land development material.
Correct, and it's really the same plan we had before, the driveway coming back, stormwater management facilities, out front here, and, about 45,000 square feet of self-storage units. Driveways around there, on-lot sewage disposal system, which is just required because there's a small office up here, and the deteriorating water line goes right down along the edge of the property.
I'll make a motion that we, accept the application for review by our engineer.
I second.
Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so your plan is in.
Thank you.
Here at the township, we'll get further review. I gotta ask a question now.
It starts ticking 90 days, is that right? Yeah, it starts ticking today.
It starts ticking today. It's been
Done on February 22.
It's been a hell of a way here. How did it do with all the, we've had incredible rain.
Right, it's fine. I mean, this area back here,
That was the part.
it's, where we're developing has piles of stone on it from this previous development. This is actually, a new, back here, and this access back here is fine. It's as you get along the stream.
Yeah, you can't touch it anyway.
Yeah, we're avoiding all that area for development.
Sorry, didn't mean to get off.
Fine.
Sorry, Ron, I talked right over you. What is, by February, we've got to do this?
22nd.
Just on February 22nd, there's a 90 days, so.
All right. So my question from
Don't worry about talking over me, because you know more than me, so.
Oh, yeah, right. So my question is, John, for your part of the review, do you think it's gonna come back around for December, or do you think it's back in January when we come in? If that's, cause the heavy lifting's in your world.
We have the holiday.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Thanksgiving.
Two of them.
I don't know what our schedule is. Normally, we try to turn these around in 2 or 3 weeks, which would, although we're a week later now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Probably.
we're coordinating with Stroud, we'll keep in communication.
Okay. So I'm gonna anticipate it's probably come back in January.
Except there's a lot of comments that need to be.
Yeah, 'cause often they generate those.
We'll have comments from the Conservation District.
Right,
too.
right.
So we'll coordinate to make it.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nate. All right, so that's this one. Nate, did you want your maps? Do you need these, or these? I mean, you made packets for all of us?
Yeah, I don't.
You don't need them back to do anything?
No,
Okay.
preference, you don't need that many copies,
No, I just wanted, if you were gonna do other things and give them back, otherwise I'll just go put them in my office file.
Okay.
That's all.
For future submissions, do you have a preference? I mean, do you like reduced scale plans? Do you prefer digital plans?
No, not digital, but it was something so that we're not all gonna bump into each other's elbows when we're doing it like this, whatever size you have.
Say half the, based on, how many members we have? 8?
Yeah.
Maybe half the Facebook. Or at least-
Yeah, as long as you have like one for each, every other one of us, that way we can spread them out. That'll work, no need to.
1, 3 would be good too. Certainly, we always get one for the.
You get the one that's backwards.
One for the township record, and then we'll just make.
Yeah, that's fine, that's enough. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Safe trip home and have a good holiday.
Okay. All right, so that's done. All right, next. So I'm sure we have all the good folks here for the application for public hearing, curative amendment plan, Shawnee Valley, PRD. Who's here for that?
Can you hear me, the board of the planners?
What?
This is Ted Hunter. I'm on a Zoom call.
Okay, wait a second here.
Unable to attend in person.
Okay.
Hello, this is Ted
no.
Hunter.
All right, so John, what are we looking at here?
Well, we're looking at a plan of the PRD, which our understanding is that they're just trying to do some housekeeping. They bought, I think it was 500 acres, which was then made open space and transferred to the, public land trust. And they, have reduced, a certain amount of residential units in the project. And they are reserving the right to, build additional units, but they're not asking for that at this time. They recognize that, if they're going to build additional units, they must then submit a revised amended PRD again to move forward with that. So my impression was that it was primarily housekeeping.
Okay. So this is a curative amendment, why? Because it's a PRD?
Not sure.
Yeah.
Additional use.
No, it says curative amendment on my thing. Curative amendment, it says on the app thing here, it says 2021 curative amendment plan for Shawnee Valley PRD.
That's on the agenda.
On the agenda.
Yeah, that's incorrect.
It's conditional use.
Yes.
That makes more sense.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
All right, there we go. That makes more sense.
Well, there, as I said, we can go through the letter.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it.
I do too. Let's do that,
And,
please.
the way we set the letter up, we've got some charts that show the progression, from 1988 to 2005 to 2007.
Let's see if I can here, right?
Yeah.
Don't need another one of those. I'll look at you there too.
I sure would like to know the brand myself, yeah.
Pardon me?
Hollow Road by Sun Mountain, 2 lakes, Shawnee Lake.
This is the Sun Mountain Lake is here.
Hollow Road? Yep, Hollow Road, that's Hollow Road. Yeah. Then there's another parcel on Moses Top Road.
This is backwards. Actually, as you're going out, it's actually upside down. There's Sun Mountain Lake, yeah, Sun Mountain Lake, coming down Hollow Road, Sun Mountain Lake's on the right, and then into Shawnee.
Hollow Road.
Yeah, it's actually, the orientation, I think, is really this way, isn't it? No, that's right. No, it's not, my mistake. Yeah, my mistake.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is Hollow Road then, I got it.
No, my mistake.
So this is Mosier's Knob Road?
Up top. Top black line. Okay.
Right here? No.
The top black line is Mosier's Knob.
Oh. Okay.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay, so this,
Yeah, I think
So we are way down here, River Road.
To feel
All right.
comfortable with where we are. I'm sorry, which, your letter? Yes. Okay.
November 17th?
The November 17th letter.
Yeah, third page.
If I could ask the board, is there a copy available for me to understand what you're looking at as the applicant?
Looking at what, at the,
Does he have, does Ted have your letter? Let me see.
We're looking at the Boucher and James letter dated November 17th.
Yes, he does.
Ted?
Right, just from
Yeah,
yesterday.
he's copied on it.
Yes. That letter just went out.
I haven't received any. Well, let me check my email really briefly, if I could just indulge for a second, please. Who would that have come from? Boucher and James?
Yes.
Maybe you should.
I'm gonna do a search of my email. Yeah, I'm afraid I don't see anything that I've received yet. So a little disadvantaged.
Look in your spam.
It would have come from Colette Gerstenberg.
Colette, C-O-L-L-E-T.
Yes.
And it would have arrived via email, I trust.
I think we have your email address, Ted, so.
At ted.hunter. Well, I regret I'm at a disadvantage, but I'll let's try and work through that. I don't seem to have the copy.
Can we resend it? Can we forward it?
oh, yeah, okay, I'm oriented.
So this is the Dan.
All right, John.
Okay, if you look at the letter, the first chart beginning at the bottom of the first page shows the progression of the plans that were approved, first 1988, 2005, 2007. I won't dwell on that, that's some background information.
Okay.
If you go to the second page, in the middle of the page, we have the last approved plan, which was 2007. And then we have what is being proposed in front of us today under year 2021. So if you look at these items under these two columns, the total acreage remains the same at 1,025. Total number of units are being proposed to be reduced from 1,245 to 962. Residential units, 745 down to 462. Timeshare units remain the same, 500. Developed acres has been almost cut in half, from 310 to 153. Development acres, non-residential, they do have a commercial component, remains the same at 50.3. Because of the reduction in residential units, the road acreage has reduced from 58 to 44. Road miles from 11.7 to 8.9. Open space acres have increased from 655 to 828, and that results in a pretty large open space percentage increase from 23% to 80%.
80, yeah.
The rest, more of the letter describes the development stages a little bit more. I don't know how much you want to go into that. And then at the bottom of page 3, we start to get into my comments, which you may want to go through.
Let's go through that, please. Let's go to number 1 here.
The amended tentative land use plan shall include the proposed use areas, the average gross residential density, and the density of each proposed type of residential use. Item 4A, beginning on page 15, indicates a residential density of 0.94 acres per acre is now proposed. The overall density in the density for each type of residential area shall be provided in the 2021 land use. Comparison chart provided on the plan. In addition, the 2021 land use comparison chart includes 50.3 acres of non-residential development. The areas of non-residential development should be shown on the plan. So that's a pretty simple comment to address.
Yeah, that's just marking it on their plan.
Right.
Okay.
Moving on, section R on page 7 of the draft findings of fact indicates land was transferred to the National Park Service and that is still shown in this amended tentative land use plan. Plan should be revised to show areas of open space conveyed to the National Park Service and areas of open space remaining with Shawnee LLC. The operation and maintenance of these areas, including the responsible party, shall be addressed on the plan or within the findings of fact. Again, some more clarification as to exactly what's happening and who's responsible.
May I ask to clarify that, Mr. Tressler?
Go ahead. Sure.
And I just want to, I think, establish the understanding that even though the National Park Service did acquire a portion of the land governed by the PRD essentially being zoning and land use, that land still is within the PRD, and that land is now open space within the PRD and counts as such. And so I want to make sure we're on the same page that the PRD, in response to that comment, will still be 1,025 acres. I can work with John to elaborate on any clarification about the responsibility that we no longer have for maintaining the 550 acres that was sold to the national park. It obviously has become part of Delaware Water Gap National Recreation Area, and they maintain, and that's their obligation because it's no longer ours. Does that make sense, John?
Yeah, we still, in our chart that I went over previously, we still indicate that the acreage remains the same. What we would like is what you just told us.
Yeah.
The areas of responsibility, that should be, there should be a demarcation on the plan, and if the responsibilities are the same, no matter who has the responsibility, that makes it a little bit easier, but it should be clarified as to who's taking care of what and what those responsibilities entail.
I think I understand it thoroughly and agree, and perfectly reasonable. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Next comment should address the proposed water service, sanitary sewage service, stormwater management, and other utility systems. We believe the requirement of future land development plan submissions and approvals should be provided within the findings of fact. In other words, you're reserving the right in your findings of fact to build these additional units, which I think you have the right to do, but how are they going to be served? I think we need some further clarification on that, or a little bit better understanding.
I do currently have will serve letters from Manawala Water and Sewer Service with capacity reservations. Perhaps that's the starting point of that, and I can work with you, John, to see if there's anything further beyond those.
Yeah, that would be a good starting point. I just think we want to be comfortable that nothing has changed and that those services can still be provided for what you're contemplating in the future.
Probably.
Will that need to be put on the map?
Well, we said on the map or in the findings of fact.
Or in their findings, okay.
Thank you, that clarifies.
If we try to clarify it in the findings of fact, maybe we just add a note to the plan for those services, please see findings of fact.
I think that's actually the best way to do it.
Right.
You know. All right.
The draft findings of fact, comment number 4, indicate annual updates of the PRD were provided to the township. A timeline shall also be included with this submission for review by and discussion with the township. I mean, that's one of the PRD requirements, is an annual update. We're just saying that should continue as part of this submission. If there's nothing else on that, number 5, cover letter requests a waiver of this section to provide a plan scale 1 inch equals 400 feet, and it indicates that final plan submissions will be to scale 1 inch of 50 feet. I think that means when they actually propose some sort of development. We believe the plan scale shows sufficient information for the proposed changes to the tentative amended land use plan. So we're okay with that 400 feet if everyone else is, and no one seems to believe there's a need. I think there's enough information and detail is shown.
All right, but it's a zoning requirement.
Yeah, I know that's an issue.
We can't waive the zoning requirement.
Right.
That has to be a variance.
Now,
I hate to say that.
well,
He said it, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to check that I didn't have time to do this.
Okay.
We should check the PRD. The PRD language very often, and I haven't looked at Smithfield, but very often does give powers to the board to approve modifications like this, just similar like they do in conditional uses. So I will double check that.
Yeah,
Mr. Chairman, if I could also add to this that,
hang on just
Oh,
one sec.
sure.
Hang on 1 second, Ted. 1 second, please.
Once PRD is approved, then the zoning and subdivision laws of the township no longer apply to that PRD. So I'm not sure if that would apply or not, but let's check and see.
But the PRD part, whatever the PRD says is gonna.
Right, whatever the PRD says would
All right.
control.
And like I said, a lot of times the PRD does grant those powers to the board. So let me double check.
Okay, let's do that, all right.
if I could also add, I didn't realize Mr. Karasek was speaking, that my comment that I'll also add to your investigation, John, is that both in 2005 and 2007, that exact same language and that exact same provision was included in the submission and was agreed to in the submissions on the prior submissions. This is a historic precedent. Now, whether that means anything to you or not is your call.
All right.
It's just because it's a big drawing.
Yeah, I understand.
It's a big, it's
Yeah,
twice
huge.
the size of what you're already
It's not-
holding. Or 4 times the
All right.
size.
Okay, we have, I think about
Miscellaneous.
4 more comments.
Yeah.
Item N2 on page 5 of the draft findings of fact indicates that the terms of the settlement agreement with the Shawnee Preservation Society include a provision that would eliminate the road across Sun Mountain Lake Dam and for the elimination of any new roadway connections to Hollow Road at Sun Mountain. The draft findings of fact further states under item T, beginning on page 7, that the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation will not permit the elimination of the road across the Sun Mountain Lake Dam or the elimination of the previously planned intersection with Hollow Road. Hollow Road is a PennDOT roadway, and we acknowledge the need for this intersection for PennDOT's request. We do, however, that's me, question how PennDOT has jurisdiction for the road crossing the Sun Mountain Lake Dam. We believe correspondence from PennDOT showing the requirement for the intersection at Hollow Road and the crossing of Sun Mountain Lake Dam shall be provided.
If I could add a response, partial response to that. John, we have a traffic consultant, traffic planning and design, who's been working with PennDOT for years in many projects. And by the time of this application reaching the Board of Supervisors level, I'm expecting TPD to furnish me with a document that explains that PennDOT governs the intersection of Lakeview Drive, which is the one that crosses the dams, to Hollow Road. And they are looking for safety and sight lines. So it's for that reason that we've found that they won't let us change the location of that intersection based on them having established the best criteria for the second means of access to the development. I'll furnish the TPD letters when I get them over the course of the coming days.
And maybe I misunderstood when I was going through this. I thought, and I understand what you're telling me, and I understand that if PennDOT is controlling the intersections of the roads, because yes, they do that, and they do have the right to do that. I thought you were saying that you were trying to eliminate a whole new roadway, which I question whether PennDOT can tell you whether you can eliminate a road or not.
No, there is, if I need to clarify language, perhaps we have a discussion on that, John. To correct this, during the time of discussions with Shawnee Preservation Society, when a lot of issues such as the Trust for Public Land sale was anticipated. One of the ideas was trying to relocate the second exit that's required for the development. It is shown in 2007 connecting to across the Sun Mountain Lake, and it connects to Hollow Road near the Sun Mountain entrance that currently is there. The discussions with Shawnee Preservation Society was a preference to move it downstream to the Shawnee Lake Dam and cross there. And what we have found is that we cannot do that. PennDOT, because of curvatures, sightlines, elevations, et cetera, is preventing that. So we want to remain with the existing intersection location that is shown. It's in the PRD drawing. It's the placement of that is where the dark green and light green are on that PRD drawing. There's a kind of a curved angle. Does that help?
Yeah, that explanation certainly helps me.
Okay.
I thought there was someone wanted to eliminate a road and PennDOT said no. I think the full answer is someone wanted to eliminate a road at its current location and try to relocate it somewhere else, and PennDOT said no, that would not be a good location. If I understand.
You understand correctly, John. Yes, that is correct. Okay. So we're keeping.
Let's see. It says on page 11, I'm moving to comment number 7 of my letter. On page 11, the draft finding of fact indicates the boundary of stages 2 and 3 will be revised to subdivide 13 acres of open space. I just say the area of subdivision should be identified on the amended land use plan, which is in front of us. I think that's pretty simple to do. Comment number 8, while the tentative amended land use plan reduces the number of residential uses by 283 units, item 64B on page 12 of the draft finding fact indicates that those 283 residential units will be placed elsewhere within the planned residential development, and those locations will be shown on a future amended plan. This is pretty much just a comment by me to make everyone aware that that's what's happening here.
They're not really eliminated.
They're not eliminating it. You're reserving your right to build those. Is that correct, Ted?
That would be correct. And I want to condition it, the reality that it would have to comply with all the requirements of environmental laws, stream crossings, and et cetera, and would require coming back once we know what that plan would be and where there is a place to locate a unit. So we don't have a plan at this moment that we could offer, but we would have to comply with the processes to place those units.
But that's what I was going to ask, John. So it's just that they can have a maximum of 283 units, but in this instance, do they need to or not need to show where those units may be?
I don't think they have to show.
That's what I don't think so either. Okay.
He's saying they don't even know.
Right. Okay. I didn't think so. All right. They just know that no matter what happens, they can't do more than 283
right.
from this point forward.
Right. But I think it's also important to know that they can do 283 units.
Yeah. Right.
But that doesn't get lost somewhere.
Well, it was more than that before, wasn't it?
Yeah. And my last comment is, again, it's a clarification comment. Item 64C on page 11 of the draft findings of fact indicates 3 homes will be constructed on 3 subdivided lots on Knob Lane. It shall be clarified whether the 3 homes are included in the total residential units provided in the 2021 land use comparison chart. We weren't sure, and we weren't going to count them all, so we thought we'd ask. Those 3 are up there.
Oh, I see. Fair. Right by Shawnee Lake. 3 yellow boxes by Shawnee Box.
Yeah, west of the lake.
So I don't think that has to be clarified tonight, Ted, but just if it could be clarified.
I'll work with you to confirm that for you, John. Frankly, I have to remember off top of my head, I think they're included, but I don't want to tell you that until we are sure.
I think they're yellow. It would.
That's correct.
According to charts and everything, that would probably indicate they're included. but we we're sure, so we asked the question.
We'll clarify.
And those are the comments that we had. Otherwise, I mean, in summary, again, I think it was a housekeeping process to show primarily that the acquiring the open space and that it was going to go to the National Park Service, at least for, well, I guess for ownership, but it still remains part of the PRD. It'll be their responsibility to maintain it. Some units have been removed, although the right has remained for them to be constructed elsewhere. And when they are constructed elsewhere, or once that decision is made, a new plan, tentative plan will have to be submitted. And the tentative plan will not give them the permission to construct it yet. They'll still have to submit a final plan with, design and land development detail before they can move forward to obtain permits and start construction.
Okay. All right, so what's our charge this evening, Ron?
Well, as a conditional use application, you are to review the matter and then make a recommendation to supervisors as to whether or not the application should be, recommended approved as is, recommended approved with conditions, not approved or something else. So,
okay.
My understanding was, I had gotten a phone call from Attorney Leo DeVito, who's an attorney in Bethlehem, and in fact, if you look at the letter that John sent, he was copied on this letter. He and his firm had represented the Shawnee Preservation Society in the past, and he had indicated that they or he or his charge would be here to ask questions about this particular application. So, from my understanding, to make sure that whatever is being proposed is not running afoul of that settlement agreement. That was done with the Preservation Society, probably predates me, I think it was 2008 or something like that.
A while ago, yeah.
Came in right at the end,
Okay, there you go.
When was it?
Said I came right at the end, as always.
just as the execution of the settlement and signatures, but I don't think you were involved in any of the other.
Yeah, no, I remember signing the paperwork for the first and second amendment and getting the court order to approve them.
All right. And if
Do you want to accept the motion and then hear from them?
I was just gonna ask that, do you wanna, I say we accept the motion, then put it on.
Robert's rules would say you can do the motion before you.
We do the motion and then we get the comments, yeah. All right, go ahead, Michael, make the motion.
Well, I guess I make a motion that we, recommend approval of the amended.
Acceptance,
No, it's not acceptance.
It's not acceptance, it's approval, it's
We're
conditional use.
recommending approval of the conditional use of the amended tentative plan for Shawnee Valley, conditioned upon the few things you're waiting for, specifically the letter, from PennDOT, that reiterates that road is not allowed to be moved, or.
It looks like it's basically conditioned on the comments of John's letter of one to nine.
Perfect. Based on the conditions.
I think maybe that.
Of John's letter laid out in, November 17th, 2021, or we say in January.
items 1 through 9?
1 through 9. All right, so we have the motion. All right, I'll second it. Now we have discussion here. Before we get to the board people, I knew that Martha.
I'm anxious to go.
I can wait. You're blowing your teeth out. Come on up.
So, I'm Martha, know most of you,
Martha, let me ask you this. Can you come up closer here so that it could be heard a little bit better from the speaker one? Yeah, maybe come up to the table there. It'd be great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. Let's try to make it a little.
So, speaking both for myself as a member in the community, I live adjacent to this plan, and also, as a member of Shawnee Preservation Society. So obviously, this PRD goes back to 1988, 33 years ago, and it's been dragging around forever. The last time it was discussed was 14 years ago, when the 2007, plan was approved, and I believe, Dave, you were chairman at the time, so we've gone way back with this. Couple of comments, yes. So I was questioning why it was called a curative amendment, so you clarified that. I was gonna say there's a couple lawyers in the room that would know better than me. Respectfully, I do think this is more than housekeeping, and I'll get into that a little bit. I wanted to give you, I was interested in the fact that the percentage of change and everything is based from 88 to now in their column. I've added a column on the other end there that, you know, from 2007 to now, when it was last approved to now, to me, is more useful to look at. And one correction to what you said, John, you just misread the table. You said it went from 64% open space to 80% BC. You just misread the numbers. Anyway, so we do have a settlement agreement, and both the township, who was a party, and the developers, who were a party, Ted and Tom both at the time worked for Wyndham, and it was negotiated FDI at that time, passed hands many times, but at that time it was owned by Wyndham, FDI. That's now been sold to Ted and Tom as 3 sub-entities. I think this one would fall under the Shawnee Stage 1 LLC, correct? And I'm curious about what's going to happen with the Stage 4. That's a question I have that maybe someone can answer. But also, based on the terms of our settlement, they can't do much of what is in their proposed amendment. They're in violation of the settlement if they do. So I would urge the township once again to go back and look at the settlement, the terms of the settlement, and, you know.
All right. I was not part of this. Who has the settlement agreement?
Well, so I happen to press the court case from the county website. You know how to navigate that, I'm assuming, but I have a copy of my settlement, the signed copy. I think there's some other people that were involved that have copies of their settlements here.
Do you have a docket number on it, Martha?
What settlement is this?
So there were 2 lawsuits that were filed by individuals and SBS. The first lawsuit went to Higgins, and I forget who else was on that, and SBS, and that was dismissed by the court. And then there was another suit with myself, my husband Tim Bauer, and the Holly Cadwallader, not here tonight, along with SPS. So the 3 main litigants were the township, the developer, and SPS, but also the 4 named community members. So docket number, let me give you that one.
I'm having trouble hearing Martha now.
833.
Hello?
Civil 2008.
Okay, you got it? Yes.
833 Civil 2008.
That is correct. So there's specifically, you know, with the buffers, they're not in compliance with, I have questions about Stage 4. The Holler Road thing, I understand there's between a rock and a hard place. And the initial thought was that there's sensitive habitat at Sun Mountain Dam, lots of wetlands back there close to a endangered species protected area, although not directly up against it, but close. And there's lots of wetlands back there that is a quarter that the species goes up and down. So that was why we initially had asked that one of the conditions of the settlement be that the road be realigned, and they were agreeable to do that over the Shawnee Lake Dam, and at that time it was still an earthen dam, if you remember when it was the earthen berm. Now it's been redone, and I don't even know if a road could be put over at this point, but as Ted indicated, PennDOT, if there is anyone that knows that road, there's a little bit of a curve there, and so it's supposed to be for emergency ingress and egress only, with a gate over it that would open if an emergency vehicle needed to get in and out. But PennDOT has said they can't place the road there. So I don't know, we have to look at other options at some point, but I'm not, you know, you guys. But our settlement does say that there's road prohibited over some mountain.
Is there a moment now to, can I respond to some of what Martha has said, or is there more that you'd like to say, Martha?
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, I think it's been forgotten that there was a settlement, and I realize that things historically fall by the wayside, so I'm here to remind you.
Who would be responsible for looking at that settlement as it relates to this? I suppose it's information that should be submitted to us for review.
May I interject for a moment? This is Ted speaking.
Sure.
In the documents that I submitted with the application, I included a full copy of the Shawnee Valley the SBS settlement agreement that was executed, including all of the exhibits. It was part of what we had uploaded. I'm sure that I had included it. It was listed as exhibit. It was listed as exhibit C1. And it was referenced several times in the findings of fact. So first of all, I want to make sure Martha understands we aren't ignoring the settlement agreement in any way whatsoever. We in fact did submit it. And it is clear that, I think there's a misunderstanding and a disagreement on, I think what we are doing is actually in compliance with the specific language of the settlement agreement. It's something I'd be happy to review with Mr. Karasak and explain what the provisions are. It is incorrect to state that the Sun Mountain road crossing has any influence on wetlands or environment. We currently have the MCCD erosion and sediment control permit in hand. We currently have all the stream crossings. There's 6 stream crossings, which are governed by the Army Corps of Engineers and the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection, PADEP, Joint 105. We have a wetlands preservation area being rebuilt for mitigation purposes. So while there are wetlands and waters are all around the lakes, the construction plans have been very, very responsibly developed to assure compliance with the environmental laws, including this engineered road and that bridge crossing and the access to Hollow Road. So I want to make sure that that fact is in the record. It is not a correct statement to say there's an environmental issue created by the crossing of the Sun Mountain Dam.
Well, I'll just say that, I still have been advised, we did take because we are party to the settlement, we have to sign off on anything. But
that's not true either. That's also not true either.
I've been advised otherwise. Anyway, so we have sought counsel to see, what they wanted us to sign. I mean, anyone can have a lawyer look over something they want to sign, right? So we have to look it over and we can advise that they're in violation. So that's where things stand. Anyway, that is my concern, is that they're trampling all over the settlement agreement. So that's my concern. I'm sure people may have similar or different concerns.
Martha, to help me, because I think I'm going to be taking a quick look at the settlement. You mentioned your concern about the road across the dam and that violates environmental.
Well, he may have permits, that it's, regardless, we have a settlement that says they can't put a road over there.
Okay, and that would go to Mr. Karasak's court, not mine.
Right. It's approved by the court.
But do you have other issues in the settlement agreement that are not legal, that might be an engineering issue that I should take a closer look at, or not?
I mean, the road is a big engineering issue.
Well, it is, and I will tell you, maybe I shouldn't say anything, but I'm going to tell you that normally a road across the breast of the dam is not in violation of environmental issues.
Right.
It may be in violation of your settlement agreement, and that's right for Mr. Karasak to determine. But I don't think it's I don't see how it would be in violation of environmental issues.
I'm not sure I said that exactly, but it did say that they're in violation.
Are there any other items like that would be engineering in nature that you think they're in violation of?
I'm not sure what you mean by engineering, but the buffers, as I mentioned,
okay, buffer would be one I would look at, yes. Yeah. Okay, you don't have to do it, no. I didn't know whether you just had something. I'll look at the buffers, and I'll take a closer look at the road, but okay. I just thought I'd ask why you were here. I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
No, it's okay. I'm just nervous, but I'm trying to do the best I can to help you out. On page 9 of the settlement, it talks about buffers.
Okay.
And I'll be happy to have a conversation, John, with you to describe and follow with the discussion of the settlement agreement, because again, we're perfectly aware of the requirements of the settlement agreement. And I'll also, Mr. Karasak, we can have a conversation so I can point out to you what Martha's concerns are and where they are in the settlement agreement and how they were addressed where this road crossing occurs. So I'll be happy to have follow-up during the course of the next stage, the discussion as it goes to the supervisor. We did meet with Shawnee Preservation Society in June and had some discussions, but there's been no communication with SPS of anything until tonight since the discussion we had in June.
Yes, he did come and give us a presentation in June. I wasn't present at that, but, you know, it was hard to look through everything, and it took us a while to line up the council to look it over for us. So, you know, we're a small community group doing the best we can to get through this. But you were asking for specifics. So there's a type 3 buffer, which covers knob lanes and vegetation only there. There is, I forget what the type is, but there's another buffer stating type 1 buffer that applied to the units on the west side of Johnny Lake is a 100-foot vegetative buffer and an additional 20 feet, so 120-foot setback for building.
Okay.
And it does look on their map that they're encroaching on that.
Well, I don't need to get into that specific.
Okay.
I do
I
have
wasn't sure
buffers.
how much.
Well, no, I have buffers identified,
Okay.
and then, I will look at the buffers.
Anyway, I'm gonna let other people give their 2 cents, but my position is that they're in violation.
Martha, let me ask you one thing here.
Sure.
All right, because I'm actually looking at the old docket, and there are, I mean, it's 75 pages here. So, the settlement thing that you were looking at, do you have a timestamp on it? Is it 2011, 2009?
No, it was signed on the 8th day of December 2009.
2009. All right.
With the packet that the township sent to me, Mr. Chair, there was that exhibit C.1 that Mr. Hunter just referenced, 141 pages.
Because there are changes after.
So if that's where the settlement agreement is, then I will copy it, because I wasn't aware there was a settlement agreement issue until I got that phone call yesterday
I'm
afternoon.
not sure what else.
Well, there are a bunch
I'll
of,
have to copy those 141 pages.
no, yeah, you're gonna have to look at it.
Then, if you got the same email that I did. And that should have the settlement agreement and all the other stuff.
Okay.
You can make a copy of this and drop it off.
We have it, we have it.
Okay.
No, it's, let's try to see which one it
I think it's
is.
gotten forgotten. So.
Not by us. Not by us. It hasn't been forgotten by us.
All right, thank you. Anybody else before we vote? Well, hang on. Come on up. No, come on up. Let's get you so everybody can hear, Tim. Come on up.
Gotta state your name. I'm Tim Carbone.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Ken Carbone?
Tim.
Yeah.
Again, can I ask for help with the audio,
Maybe take your mask.
Yeah,
Hey,
take
Tim.
them off.
or just move closer somehow to the mic?
Speak up.
I know Tim and Martha.
I don't know how much closer I can get. I have a pretty loud voice. Can you hear me?
That's better.
We're perfectly nice. Thank you.
Reiterate what my wife has said. And
Okay.
for me, make it simple. Whatever all else, you know, environmental impact, all that other stuff. Bottom line is, what they're trying to do is against our settlement. Read it, you'll see it. And I'm not a lawyer, but we've had a lawyer look at it, and that's the word that we're getting. So, you know.
Well, you should know, Mr. Carbone, that the commission, along with myself, would appreciate those concerns of yours. However, it would be helpful if someone on your behalf, whether it's a lawyer or whatever, give us a list of what you believe are violations. I don't want to be guessing.
Okay, no, I'm not gonna, I can tell you off the top of my head, and I'm not a
No, I
lawyer.
want it in writing, from someone in authority from your group that says, these are the violations that we see.
I'm trying to get that to you by tomorrow.
Because what's gonna happen, because what'll happen, Tim, is we're in a position here, one way or another, we're gonna have to move this along to the supervisors.
Yeah, sure.
Because that's where it is, but that's, if those are your concerns, that's where your thoughts have to be channeled.
Got it.
Of course, because there'll be a hearing set before the Board of Supervisors. I don't know, what does that have to be, 30 days or something, Ron? What does that have to be? 60
days
60 days?
Date of filing, but I think we're beyond that, so I'm hoping that Ted had already given the township an extension, because, this was not something I was following.
We haven't seen it before. We didn't see it last month on our thing, on our list.
But the application was filed, I believe, in September.
Okay. All right, well, it's gonna be a hearing before the supervisors.
Yeah, we'll be there.
So, get your stuff together for that with your boys, you, Martha, and if you have counsel that's gonna help you and your group, that'd be great.
Yep.
All right, but that's really for the supervisors.
You got it.
Okay.
Is it easy to explain in layman's terms what you believe the violations are?
Sure. The 3 plots they wanna build on Knob Lane are zone 3, setbacks, because it says vegetation only there, and build houses there. And it says in our settlement that you can't build a dam, build a bridge over the Sun Mountain Dam. Those 2 things, pretty much.
So if I could respond briefly, and again, I think, oops, sorry.
Hang on, Ted, we understand.
I think that's in a nutshell, my.
Yeah, the other one was the buffer 120-foot setback.
Yeah, it looks like on the map that they're encroaching on the 120-foot.
Okay.
20-foot setback.
Okay.
So that's a concern as well. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I would like to make 2 comments. And again, we're not going to settle it. Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. This isn't something we can close out. I think the follow-up with Ron, and now that they say they've brought an attorney into play, there'll be some follow-up that will occur in that discussion. But the settlement has conditions, and some of what they're talking about involves the way the language was written at the time and the conditions that have to be met. So that's something that when we speak to Mr. Karasak, when we speak to their representative, we can explain what the conditions are, which is why we say we are in compliance with the agreement.
Okay. All right. Anything further from the board before we vote?
Should we,
Other comments?
amendments?
Yes, if any other members of the public would like to say anything.
Was there anybody else? I'm sorry, I didn't think I saw any more hands. Oh, there's another hand. All right, step up, please, sir. All right.
It's my first time at this meeting. My name is Bill Stockbridge,
Okay.
and I live on Knob Lane. I'm one of those yellow boxes that you guys called out. I don't have any specific, questions. I do have concerns about the construction going on. We're gonna get a lawyer and figure it out, but I just had to raise my hand and say that. You know, I moved into the area maybe 2 years ago. Me and my partner own a house there, and, the serenity around the neighborhood, we live on a dirt road, right? It would completely change the makeup of the neighborhood for where we're at. And so I just had to raise my hand and say something like that. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Yes.
I'm Bridget Keating, I also live in one of those yellow boxes, and I wanna know, can I get through the, documents, can I get copies of everything that you've been talking about?
The minutes?
No, what,
No,
it's the letter, 75 pages, the attachments that you're referring to. Online.
you can make the request to the township, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
When you say one of the yellow boxes, that's not a constructed home yet, is it?
No, it's not,
But you said you live in one of the yellow boxes, that's not, those are proposed, you live on the lane where they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be, the yellow box was like, it would be her neighbor, essentially, right? And I'm Bridget's neighbor right now. And then the yellow box was across the dirt road from my house.
Okay.
So they're gonna fill that area in?
Yeah, make it more congested on the dirt road, but.
Anybody else? All right. Anything from the board?
Yes,
Oh.
just a comment to, my name is Vince Delafigure, I'm also also a member of the SPS. And I just wanted to reiterate what, Kim and Martha said. We are really concerned that this application does violate our settlement, and we feel an obligation to go ahead and to take every action we need to defend the settlement. And we intend to do that. I just wanted to make that clear. Thank you.
So do we need to amend the motion to, look at the look at the settlement agreement?
No.
That's for the supervisors, I think.
It is for the supervisors, and if they don't like what the supervisors have, then they'll be over in the Court of Common Pleas.
I think I would amend my motion, because is it mentioned in, we said contingent on the 9 points here?
Yes.
I would just want to add, no?
No, I did not mention the settlement agreement in my letter.
I would just want to add that the supervisors should look closely at the settlement agreement in conversation with
Their attorney.
Attorney Karasak to ensure that this plan does not violate the settlement agreement.
Second.
Okay. Second? Any other discussion? All right, all in favor of Michael's motion?
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. It's off to the supervisors. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thanks. All right.
Who did the motion to amend that?
Michael did both. Michael and Dave both. Yeah, and then Dave seconded it.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Mitch, you gonna give us the skinny of what you've been finding here? But let me just.
Well, the one topic I wanted to bring up for discussion being discussed earlier, and that is the whole question of violations.
You gotta hold on for a second. Either they gotta go out or be quiet.
Can you move outside, please?
We're still in meeting, guys. We got other agenda items. Probably about.
Who's paying them for admission? That's okay.
I'll wait till Scott.
Yeah, we should.
We're waiting for Scott.
What happens in the immediate future, or just someday they wanna do that, or?
It was, I don't know what phase it was on.
No.
That's all right.
One day would be part of this phase, maybe. Yeah. They've already got this one done.
You had something for me to look at. Oh, you took it back?
I took it.
Okay.
Okay.
So, the one topic I want to revisit is this whole question that came up, I think it was 2 meetings ago, where we were discussing the enforcement of violations of codes and ordinances.
Yes.
Okay? And that question goes to the point that we spend, as a planning commission, a lot of time, effort, and energy. A lot of engineering goes into assessing plans. And then if we don't enforce and correct violations, what are we really doing? Okay? So, in my mind, that's pretty important to address, and something should be done about it. Okay, so one of the questions that came up in that discussion, was that, well, we don't have the money. We don't have the money to pursue violations. So I attended 2 budget meetings, right, Robert? With the commissioners, budget planning measure. And it came out in the second meeting, it was, I would say, very clearly stated to me, money is not the issue. okay? It's not an issue of money, it's an issue of the court docket. Okay? So, that still doesn't get to the point of how do you fix it? And that is really what we should discuss. I mean, to just talk about something and know there's a problem and not take some action, whether it's recommended action to the commissioners or what it might be, whether it's legal action, something should be done so that the violations that are cited by the zoning officer are corrected. Now, having said that, I don't know, and I don't know that any of us have visibility on what these violations are or how many of them there are in a month, a week, a year. I mean, is that information readily available?
It's not within our purview, it's whatever the supervisors are going to give out on that. It's an administrative function of the elected body. I mean, I'm not here to, I'm on your team. Okay. I've been saying this for years.
Yeah, you were one of the louder voices complaining.
You know, that there's some of it, the thing is, there are gonna have to be a few that are limited staff at the moment. Okay, and I say at the moment because I think that is something that I would feel comfortable recommending to the supervisors, that zoning and enforcement needs at least an assistant, or perhaps two. To be perfectly honest with you, with the amount of things that we have here now, whether or not that can be accomplished with any budgetary year, or even to find people for that.
I think there are easy steps that can be taken to start understanding this problem much better, without adding people and spending a lot of money.
Well, I'm getting to the ultimate solution.
The zoning officer issues the violation, to put a list of the violations, who they're against, and how serious it is, and have a Excel spreadsheet with that list and have it readily available for review is a very simple thing.
Yeah, and revised and updated once a month.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
Not too much to ask, Robert? I mean,
Are we speaking, I'm sorry, I was in another conversation.
talking about,
Mainly about illegal rentals?
no,
Could be any number of things.
any violation of
every citation, every ticket, every citation written by the zoning officer or anybody else. Also, I don't know if we can even do this, Ron, can we request or require, can the supervisor require that the zoning hearing board present do they get its minutes? Do we get the minutes?
Well,
I don't know where those been.
I got through this. I think we're trying to figure out a system, a status system where any complaint or any citation is issued, is in a record, it comes out at least once a week, and it's available to anybody who wants. We don't have that now. We should.
That's an easy thing to do.
And on the flip side, the permits. Let's see what permits are applied for and granted.
The trouble is, there's a breakdown, let's say.
Take one thing at a time. Don't expand it.
Well, I get it. I get what you're
Try to
saying.
deal with violations.
And let me go back to short-term rentals, because that's, a huge area of citation. One of the problems with that has been, it's not been one year for a year and a half. You've got something like over 500 of them sitting there, portable items. Then there's a problem with getting hold of people to cite them when they leave their houses and they move, and they move again, we can't get hold of them. My feeling is, on that particular thing, I'd like to figure out another approach to enforcement that has nothing to do with zoning. Maybe it's about the advertising, something like that, where we could have an ordinance that allows us to cite them immediately as fine for doing something. And we don't have to go through the courts, we don't have to go through the zoning.
Well, on that one, that was a recommendation I made when that ordinance was put into place. By outright making it not allowed, what is the finding, requiring that they make requests, that they do that? I'm just saying.
Issue, which brought up that in other townships where they've tried to maybe better,
definition of
I'm just saying,
violence.
you're right, and I'm saying there may be, we're saying we might be a little approach to this. Right, but it may not be so.
Well, there might be a lot of solutions to see
All of these things are great.
the magnitude of the problem.
On all these people, if you're gonna have all these violations, you don't get past this magistrate.
Yeah, you do.
And I've been there with him.
You do get past it. Yes, you do. It doesn't end there.
In my community, we find people, he let them go.
But then your next step is you file an appeal to the Court of Common Pleas. Now, if you don't wanna do that, that's one thing. But you're gonna have to get a couple and go. I don't know, if it's literally, if it's Brian's that bad at it downstairs, then file a mandamus somewhere, make him hear a case. I mean, I'm not solicitor of this outfit, but, you know, there are a few extraordinary means by which something can be brought before the common pleas to get something heard. Because because the statute says that you have to go through the zoning officer, violation, the enforcement notice, homeowner can appeal, or property owner, can appeal to the district court in the jurisdiction. From that decision, you can then go to the Court of Common Pleas. There is no A to E. You don't go from step A to step E. There's no way to do that. Now, unless we had, like we've said for a million years, we had a public nuisance ordinance that we could slap on a couple of these things, which I also, me and God knows how many of the rest of us have suggested that we can do that in addition to, private nuisance is one thing, but public nuisance is a way, but you're gonna have to have, statutory law in order to do that, and in that instance, you can take certain bad examples and go straight to the Court of Common Pleas, get an injunction, shut them down, and the whole thing.
I think that's a pretty,
Mm-hmm. But you gotta pick a couple, and it's not up to us, because we don't have that ability here on the planning commission. That's a super.
zoning board, it's a nuisance.
A nuisance ordinance. Yeah, that's different. Our only input on a nuisance ordinance is at the beginning when it comes through us before it goes on to public hearing before, supervisors would vote upon it. Because that's a legislative act. That could do. I mean, you know, yeah, you're gonna have to spend a couple of bucks and slap a couple of people, but there is a second workaround, which is the nuisance way to do it. All right, now it's not clean, and it's not statutorily approved with a nice straight progression. But if you have to, maybe we have to do it. I mean, if they're literally cases aren't getting heard at all, I mean that, you know, well, it's not its fiefdom.
We just haven't gotten there yet.
Okay. I mean, I like that idea. I like both ideas. That somewhere along the line, you know. Sorry, Ron, I'm talking around you. Pardon me. It's like you're not even here, but I'm sorry.
I'm writing notes, you're not talking.
Okay.
Are the violations public record? Are they a matter of public record?
No. Because it can be cleared up.
Not permit disclosure of investigations or anything of that nature. It will permit only if a fine is imposed or if the suspension of a license has been imposed. Other than that, they are not disclosable. Now, just because they're not disclosable under the Open Records Act, would it be that the township could say, that's okay, you're gonna get it anyway? I would not recommend the township. Once they've given it to you, they gotta get it to everybody else.
So in other words, our asking for a monthly breakdown of citations issued by the zoning officer is illegal.
Not illegal, I'm not sure if in fact that's disclosable if you're talking about an investigation of those. If you're saying, tell me how many citations have been issued, that's probably okay.
That's it.
Tell me how many citations have been issued against Mr. or Mrs. Jones, I don't know.
No, but
Tell me what type of citations have been issued against Mr. or Mrs. Jones.
for violation.
Well, if you say we did one zoning violation for, short-term rental, we did another violation because there were too many,
Without
cars
identifying.
in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I think you could do that.
You know, Robert and I and Ken Wolf attended a seminar, much like the one that Mitch has seen, and a lot of other ones that are held all the time. But in any case, I asked the moderators, to whom does the zoning officer report? As in, who hires and fires the zoning officer and who who is responsible for his operation, other than himself? And the answer was the Board of Supervisors. It's the supervisors. Yeah, yes. So, well, this was not clear apparently to our zoning officer at that time.
The supervisors can't tell him what to do.
Right.
He is his own person as to what he.
Yeah, and I know you said that before, I'm not really sure.
Supervisors can't, because that would be an official oppression, telling you, you must go cite Mrs. So-and-so because I don't like her, and if you don't, you're gonna get fired.
Because
You can't do that. They fire and hire him on his merits or on her merits.
Right.
Not because he does or doesn't do what they want him to do.
And then it follows that they can ask him to report on a monthly basis, a record of
I think that's reasonable, sure.
of his citation pad.
I think that's reasonable.
Now, let's see your,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that at all.
What about
and that would
prioritizing?
include the
Tell
name.
me what you've been doing, I think that's fair.
You can say that.
I think that's fair.
Mitch, what did you ask?
What about prioritizing the citations for enforcement? I mean, just because we have 500, to use your number, I don't know. Now, that's a big number. But some of them have got to be more important than others. And if you prioritize, how do you get a prioritization so that you pick the biggest one or the best one that is going to have an influence on all the rest?
Well, I think that's just a policy determination made by the Board of Supervisors in conjunction with the zoning officer and say, okay, which ones do we want to do first?
Really go after.
No
So
different than the
they
state
know the
trooper on the
details.
highway with the car speeding, okay, I'm gonna go after that one, that's going faster. It's okay with that. But there has to be some policy established so that everyone knows how it's gonna go.
So they know the details, they know who the citation is against and what the citation is, and the supervisors can prioritize.
Supervisor's decision anyway, they're the elected public official, that's
Right.
It has to be there.
They're the enforcement.
We could talk about this all night. Why don't we just ask the supervisors to see what they can do?
Well, I think, why not make a motion to have
Make a
a
motion.
recommendation to the supervisors to address the issue specifically of violations and give some type of report as to whatever information can be divulged.
Right.
And prioritize them.
Second.
And I mean, how much?
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion, gentlemen? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, yeah, that's what.
Can I ask one of our audience, I mean, we're not really done yet, so.
No.
We had two things.
You got some more.
That's, I'm
Go-
sorry.
go another item. Go ahead, Mitch,
Then
you're up
Michael has
again.
one.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
being a new member on this planning commission, and not knowing exactly what I was supposed to do, and being told a few things along the way, which I've heard many times, we are just an advisory board. There is an organization called the Pennsylvania Municipal Planning Education Institute. You've attended some of those boards, right? So they provide a lot of different boards. One of them is only costs $25, and it's called Building a Strong Planning Commission. Okay? So I invested $25 in an hour in attending that. And I actually sent their slide presentation, I think, to you, Scott, and you.
Yeah, you said it.
I don't know if anybody got a copy of that or not.
I'd love.
I left it to Scott to see if he wanted to bother everybody else with it.
No, I said we wanted to talk about it tonight, that's what I said, before I shipped all the
Right.
links around to everyone.
So, there are a couple of things that really stuck out in my mind.
So powerful. Yeah.
One of the very first slides that they talk about is that they say, it's actually the sixth, it's fiction that we are just an advisory only committee. In fact, it's actual work to do, and commissioners have to ask us what to do. We have specific duties, but the commissioners have to ask us what to do. So when I raise this question.
Supervisors or commissioners?
Supervisor.
Sorry, the supervisors. I asked the question, well, then we really are just an advisory. The answer was, you have to ask to be asked. So if we want to do something, the idea would be, we go to the supervisors and we ask them to ask us to do it, okay? The other thing that stuck out of my mind was that there are 18 things that we're supposed to do at the request of the supervisors. And the first one is to prepare a comprehensive plan. If they have a comprehensive plan, Scott, you said we have one.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
It's obsolete.
It's obsolete, but yes.
okay, but I'm gonna go in the opposite direction for just a second. When new people come onto the planning commission, I mean, there should be some kind of onboarding as to what they should look at, what they,
An orientation.
There should be an orientation, there's stuff to read, there's the municipal planning code. I mean, that's pretty ominous. The thing about a comprehensive plan, that's supposed to be a guiding document for the development in the township, right? That's a guiding document. Do we use it? There's also a slide that shows what a lot of places do with these comprehensive plans, and that is they get filed away someplace in a dusty corner and they never get looked at. I've been on the commission.
You should know, Mr. Bauer, that under the law, a township or borough not following the comprehensive plan doesn't mean anything. It's not a violation of any law.
Well, I'm not
They don't have to follow the comprehensive plan if they don't want to.
I'm not suggesting that it is a violation of the law.
No, I'm just saying that, why are you gonna spend time on a comprehensive plan that doesn't matter?
And our experience has been, does it matter? Yeah. Really, by the time it gets ironed out, presented, in our experience, it's obsolete. But there are certain guidelines that are beneficial, and we did and do look at them, and we helped put together with the supervisors this overlay, this new
economic
development.
I wasn't done saying that, that was.
And that grew
That was out of us.
It grew organically, but mostly from us. Yeah.
The mixed use, the whole thing.
And Mr. Bauer is absolutely correct about the township supervisors. At the request of the township supervisors, you can do a number of things. Under the MPC, there's, in addition to the comprehensive plan, there's 14 or 15 other items, plus a couple other that Bauer may have.
It's a total of 18.
Okay, well, there you go.
We've done this.
15
What's
plus
that?
8.
We've done this.
Oh,
Not all of them, that's for sure.
maintain records of action, recommend official map,
Yeah, that's how the maps get changed when we do the
prepare
zoning.
zoning ordinance, prepare and administer the subdivision and land development.
That we do. That's what we're just doing.
Prepare codes, do what's needed under the municipal planning code.
Well, that's
This is also an aside, is it a requirement that we're supposed to file a yearly report by March?
Would that be our minutes though? I mean,
that was stated in what I
have the MPC in front of me,
and that question doesn't have to be answered right here.
I'm just saying, I've not heard of that before, but it could be buried in the file here somewhere, or it could be that the township zone planning commission ordered it, by the way, in addition to the planning code, that ordinance may require that. I just don't remember that offhand, because it's been a while since.
So at any rate, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here, not the least of which is that they recommend that there are 4 courses that people who are involved with planning, they're 4 10-hour courses.
4 10 hours, 40
Yeah,
hours?
4 10-hour courses. Okay, Robert never told me about that. When he asked me to volunteer for the planning commission.
Robert,
Okay.
that one we took was 10 hours, right? Remember? That was 5 weeks. That was just one of them, yeah.
So, at any rate, there are 4.
What are they?
Well, there's
Community planning, zoning,
zoning administration, and subdivision and land development.
Can you take it over like a 2-month
Yeah.
period? 40 hours, I can't do that.
Well, the way they work is they're in the evening, 2 hours a week. So it's 5 weeks.
Is it in person or online?
In person, you sit around a giant table.
In person?
Yeah, they're getting back.
Well, that's the way ours was.
Where
is it? Before COVID.
Where?
So.
Right.
It was up in the middle, at the town, at the
Library?
No, at the,
What's the cost?
the town offices.
The new one?
Yeah. Yeah, they had a
It
big,
doesn't have
they had a
to
big
cost, I don't know.
circular.
I have a motion to make. Really?
You can make any motion you like.
Thank you. I'd like to make a recommendation to the supervisors to include, a line item for, workshops for planning commissioners to further enlighten themselves, on the, of which to be determined by the commissioners. I'm sorry, by the supervisors. We look very favorably about it. That's my motion of signature.
Did you say what? I'm sorry, Ron.
We look very favorably upon that.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I second it, you know.
He's second, Scott.
Okay.
All favor?
By the way, Mr. Bauer, again, you are correct, because I looked at this book as you guys were discussing, and the commission shall keep a full record of its business and shall annually make a written report on March 1 of each year of its activities to the governing body. Fortunately, we do minutes every meeting.
We do minutes every meeting.
That would cover that issue.
Yeah.
You are correct, that there is
minutes.
requirement.
Actually, we have incredibly,
You have to report to the supervisors and tell them what you've been doing all year.
we have incredibly detailed minutes.
I do, really. Thanks to Ron.
Here. But that is in there. First time I read it, but that's where it is.
What section is it on?
Section, 10, 20, 10207. Under conduct of business.
Conduct of business, municipal planning code?
Yeah, in the MC.
I've only picked out what I thought was important. I think it's worth everybody taking a look at this information.
Well, that's only an hour long.
Yeah, this was an hour.
Yeah.
It was an hour well spent.
Survey course.
And it went against my beer budget.
Did you send me the PowerPoint?
I'll send it to everybody.
Yeah, send it all around.
Yeah,
I have it too, if I remember tomorrow.
The thing that I think that's really important is that there be some type of formal list of things, volunteers for the planning commission, that they do to get up to speed. Whatever it may be, take this course, you read the, municipal planning code. You read whatever the, plan is that is obsolete and we don't use.
Chairman, I'd like to ask our solicitor a question.
You can ask, of course you can.
Yes. Do you remember the checklist that we had? Do we still use that with, people that come in to present to applicants and so forth? We usually have a checklist of things that they had to come in with to save time. Do we still have that?
Well, let's say I have a checklist of what are conditions for when a plan gets approved.
Yeah, the plan approval review checklist we've gone through.
Conditions, for conditional plan approval. I don't believe we have a checklist for what people need when they come in, because there should be an application with the township when you file a plan that has a checklist on the application. Well, hopefully they're still using it. I think they are.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll point to Mitch is, that way back when Mr. Delaferro will remember, that he was on the board of supervisors at the time, but we put together the, how many years did it take? 4 years to get the saldo through? It was one of these things, this thick. It is. We went over it 3 or 4 times. And the planning commission played a key role in that, as I recall. I came on board and that's what they were doing at the time. It was people work,
But it should be used.
it is used now, the subdivision.
It's a development plan, ordinance.
Yeah, it's critical to the operation of the land zone.
Okay, the only thing I'm gonna say is, I know that I was at a meeting, and I asked, what is our plan for the township? And Robert happened to be there, and he said, I have the plan, it's my plan, because we looked at the economic development map and all the rest of it. Not one person said to me, we have that, it's a comprehensive plan.
It's not the comprehensive plan. It's not. It's not the comprehensive plan. It's not all that, to be perfectly blunt, it's not useful all that much. What is more useful is when things come organically the way we were discussing tonight, with nuisance ordinances, with alterations of zonings and so forth. You can take the comprehensive plan and print it on a long software.
I need it.
It's not that useful.
Well, I'd just like to read it before I use it.
Oh, you mean a long software like Jack Kerouac did?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Monroe plan. I have something I'd like to add.
Michael. Yeah, then Michael. Yeah, Michael first.
Michael, go ahead.
I've got another agenda item.
Yeah, go ahead.
Different item?
This is, yeah, we're moving on to the next one.
They want to talk about this issue?
No, something on the, go ahead, you go first.
No, I was just, and this is for you, Fairfax, I don't know what to do with this. I received, as a secretary, a letter from the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection. I know Brian Barrett got a copy as well, which was just the approval letter for the exception for the bridge. Stanislav, Manovsky subdivision. You guys got that? Want me to do anything with that? Should I share with everyone?
I haven't been involved, so.
Okay. I mean, I'll just share it.
Yeah, share it with us. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Scott, you know what? I'm gonna share it with you.
Okay. And then I'll send it around?
Yeah.
Something that's like come out of the Russian consulate?
Oh, effectively, road project approved for exemption from certain sewage requirements. I don't know.
Was it floodplain?
I don't even remember seeing it. Oh, you got it, actually.
Did I?
Yeah. All right.
From who?
From PA, Department of Environmental Protection. It's honestly the first time I've ever received a formal correspondence, so I just thought it's.
Any copy that's on?
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing that.
I've never seen that before.
I'm not telling you it's not there, I just don't remember.
It was like 3 days ago.
They're one of the most incompetent organizations.
It's probably from, honestly, it's a project from years ago.
They are pretty bureaucratic.
Sleepy.
Okay.
I don't have your email address, but.
I have a question about the agenda in general. We have unfinished business. I would like to see us, I don't know, I guess Lois writes this. Can we make suggestions to her of what to put on there? For example, you know, in the past, we've talked about a sign ordinance, we've talked about a noise ordinance, we've talked about the economic development. I don't know if any of those, if any of those have ever been resolved, and if we don't have it on the agenda, we forget about it, and I would like to make sure that we don't forget about these things.
Excellent.
It's not Lois, really.
Okay.
I assure you, most of the people, nothing has been forgotten. It's just,
But
things have fallen behind because, there's just too much.
Understood, but if there's something that we, as the planning commission, can do to help move things along,
yeah, but
I'd just like to make sure that it's on our radar, we know about it.
Not just, they might have.
Well,
That's critical, or it's gonna get abused.
Well, I mean, Julie can write it up and send it to me, but when really, I'm the one who proposes the set agenda. I mean, most times I don't bother making any changes. However, there have been, you know, a fair number of times where I have, and where we've added different things before the meeting. You know, so before it goes blowing out, Julia should send it to me, really.
Bring it to us, please.
All right, I'll do that.
Anything like that, or something where it's like economic development, what happened to that? Well, so, coming up.
Yeah, no, I'm
Things that have come up before that we haven't went through.
Send out my own if I have to.
If I have something to add, I'll write to you.
Yeah, send it to me.
Email you.
That's what Mitch was doing, that's why we started talking about these.
Commissioners, that if you're adding to the agenda that has been published, that you need to make a motion to add whatever to the agenda, and then the agenda has to be redone and advertised or put on the website.
We're not publishing anything, these are just proposed agenda items for the next thing.
But if you're doing it before, when your agenda, after your agenda's been set, you can't do that under that new Act 65.
Agenda goes to just that.
We're talking about giving it to you once the agenda's set. If, before you set it.
I'm not setting the agenda. The agenda, the proposed agenda is gonna come to me before we ship it around.
Okay.
And ship it out.
Right.
Otherwise, I'll just put it on the hidden agenda.
Okay. Which is okay.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Just one comment to that. I don't know how I got this, but this is a question. Are there any items that we can add to the agenda without formally amending the agenda and posting an amended agenda after the meeting?
Actually,
The answer is yes. Following items voted on without the need to formally amend the agenda or post an amended after the meeting. Action can be taken as an emergency or regular scheduled meeting, it kind of goes on. But if you just want to bring something up for discussion,
Like we're doing now.
you can do that.
Yeah.
Like we're doing now.
But if you find out that we have to vote on it and it requires some specific action, then you have to have a motion to add it to the agenda, and it has to be a.
does that mean that I was not allowed to make that motion that we add a budget item? That's what it says you have to do. You have to make a motion to amend the agenda, which you did.
Well, what we're making is simply a recommendation, that's not,
No, but we made a motion to amend the agenda at the beginning of the meeting.
Also remember, the tentative agenda comes out on Thursday. Look at it on Thursday. Let us know what you want to change it to.
And that's just, that comes usually from Lois.
Lois, but I think Julia is really more in charge of the agenda than Lois.
So sending it, doing a reply to Lois is the same as replying to Julia?
Either one, but I would reply to Julia.
Okay.
it's all right.
Are we good?
Yep,
Did we save this, all this shit?
No, 'cause it's gonna be revised.
it's going to be revised. All right,
Right.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Don't all second at once.
I triple.
That's fine, I know, I'm trying to bug partner all this, that's fine. That's fine.
Martha, good to see you.
You know,
We miss you.
always bringing the fun.
Why don't you come back and join us?
Well, that's all right, you're gonna get a new judge. If you have to sue, you're gonna get a new judge, 'cause Ron's been dead for years.
Thank you very much.
All right.
They didn't feel it was me because they take it from your,
That's fine.